Welcome to the Transforming Lives panel, the podcast where inspiration and transformation converge. Each week, we come together to explore the depths of personal growth and life-changing experiences. Come along with us as we deep dive into personal stories. Through intimate conversations, our guests and panel reveal the pivotal moments that have defined their paths, shown their strengths, and formed their passions. We are so happy you are here, and we welcome you to our circle where empathy and empowerment are always at the forefront.
Welcome to another episode of the Transforming Lives podcast panel, and we are here with Sharmin and Kate and Mitzi, and welcome to all of you who are listening with us today, and thank you for spending some time with us. And we just take a minute to get grounded so that we are all present with each other, just a couple of deep breaths, and just getting rid of the to-do lists and the to-done lists and the never gonna get done lists, the menu for dinner, the lunches you're going to pack for kids' schools. Let's just let that go for a little bit. And just take some time to hang out with each other. So, Sharmin, what are we talking about today?
So we decided that we'll just talk about current events in our lives. What's happening in our lives? What's the major project? What are the challenges that we're facing? When we decided on this, I was like, I have a whole entire list I need to seriously, I need to choose which one should I discuss. So I hope you're ready. We've never done anything like this where we just talk about ourselves. I mean, we share our experiences as per the topic, but today we're just, going to be present with what's happening in our lives, around our lives. What are those major projects and what challenges are we facing, and how are we gonna overcome the challenges or hurdles that are before us? I'm excited. How about you, Kate?
My wheels are turning as you're sharing, and I'm very aware that I'm excited to hear what everyone else is going to share.
Do you want to start us off, Mitzi? What's going on in your world today?
Oh, you know what? Today's one of those days where I feel like 600 tabs open on my computer because I'm trying to do so many things. But I've always had it that I wanted to create some children's books and things. I've done 6 books for adults, and I've always wanted to do some for kids. So I've been working and kind of drafting that. So I am working on learning and how to and creating kids' books right now. And I'm also starting next week an AI certification course through it's going to be like certified in the whole thing. So it's going to be about a 12-week intensive program. So I will be an AI expert by the time I am done that program. But like I said, I'm sort of overwhelmed because I think I've got too many balls juggling in the air at this point. And I'm so excited about so many projects, but the problem is I really am like a squirrel chasing different things in different directions right now. So I got to try and kind of hone it in and figure out what I can have my VAs helping me with and what I need to be doing myself and get it a little bit more organized. So that's my world right now.
That's really cool and super interesting. I like this whole intensity of the AI. So what's the goal with that? What do you want to do with it? Is this going to be part of your writing the books?
It's going to be part of my writing my books, but it's also going to be part of my my coaching program. I am going through a full certification and plan to do speaking engagements and trainings and teaching organizations about using AI. I think it's obviously hot and up and coming. And I was known as the LinkedIn queen, and I love LinkedIn, but I don't know how to say it without offending LinkedIn, but it never excited me. Like, even though I was using it a lot and I do use it a lot in business, I don't know, teaching it just didn't excite me. But I think because we're just in the infancy of AI and there's so much and it's exploding that it does excite me. So I sort of decided to embrace the excitement. And as I say, tie it in, because I want to use it myself. And while I'm sitting there and I'm learning it for using it myself for both real estate and for, my book creation, why not get certified and be able to help and teach others? Because I think we who are out there in the business world and who are sort of learning about AI, it thinks like everybody's talking about it. But I think if you kind of go and survey 100 people randomly, probably, 3 of them are kind of maybe a little bit aware and 5 of them have heard of it and know nothing. And everybody else is like, huh, what? Like they're just not there. But because we're in it right now and kind of talking about it and feeling it, we feel like it's everywhere. But I don't think it's like that for the general population. What do you guys think?
I totally agree that it's not something that the general population is even thinking about. It's not on the radar of many. And I believe it's Chat GPT that caused the other half of the population that is interested in AI. I believe it's Chat GPT that caused them to become interested. And I'm so excited for you. I hope that you share the journey with us, and if you're comfortable sharing with the audience where you're going and how the development of it would be pretty interesting. I am excited in AI. I never thought of becoming trained. I have been using, being exposed to AI, I would say, for the last 2.5 years. And I was working with a developer on developing 2 models and 2 apps, and realized that the developer was on the same part of the learning curve with me.
Oh, geez.
Right? And after, I think it's 4 months, I realized we were on the same learning curve, and I count my losses, but I learned a lot. I can readily choose a developer, and I know the questions to ask to understand how advanced they are, and if they're trained, if they went to university, or if they learned from Udemy. That's where I learned that a lot of people are being certified by Udemy, and you will find them on places like, the places that we go often to get our work done. So thank you, Mitzi, for that. And I hope that you share your journey with us.
I will gladly share my journey as I go along and through this. And if any of you want to find out more about becoming certified in as an AI teacher coach, just let me know and I can hook you up with the information.
Perfect.
That is cool. Well, today for me, I don't know, today, time of recording is September 5th, 2023. And officially today, I did not go to school as a teacher. My very first teaching day was September 5th, 1987. So it's been a while, and we talked about this on and off, but my whole vision of the first day of retirement for me officially was going to be waking up on a golf course, because I did not want to wake up at home on a regular back to school day and everybody's getting on with their day and I'm just sitting here thinking, what the hell am I going to do now? So, and it was interesting because my daughter, who is 30, just quit her full-time career and is going back to get her Bachelor of Fine Arts in university. She called herself the geriatric student today. She's 30. Anyway, so we had a really cool conversation this morning where our lives are completely different today, being the stepping off point. So there's there's a lot of, oh my God, I have zero regrets. I don't feel anything like, maybe this wasn't, no, this is definitely the right decision for me. And as you know, I'm launching into my own business and my own separate podcasts and some consulting, and it's all exciting, but what am I scared of? I don't know. I've been following literally the education system for 30 years. I've had all the parameters in place for me, and I just go in and do my job. So now I'm like, okay, I have to figure out business registration and marketing and email lists and tech and everything is coming at me going, oh, I know I'll figure it out, but it's one of those things where you just have to stop and go, okay, well, what can I do right now that's going to move me a little bit forward that I can do, and then worry about everything else next. And that's how I'm just going to have to keep my theme in my head, is just do one more thing to move the needle forward. So this is a really, really cool day for me. So yes, I woke up on a golf course this morning and I had my coffee, looking at the first tee, and I thought, okay, I'm in my happy place and let's get on with it.
Well, that's awesome. What a perfect way to start off the next phase of your life. Very
Yeah.
exciting.
Thank you.
And how about you, Kate? What's rocking with Kate?
Oh, thank you for sharing. I'm excited to hear what Sharmin has to say, and thank you, Mitzi and Cheryl, for sharing, and how exciting. Like, I feel really excited for everybody for what's coming. And yeah, I'm really, I don't know really how to put this into words. Maybe I shared this before, I don't know, but I have a whiteboard beside me. And in January, I usually put on there what I want to be able to check off by next January or by the end of next December. And really sitting in a space of gratitude and celebration and compassion if what is on there hasn't come to fruition. And so when I was reflecting back on what I put for like the last year, I had a get certified in compassionate inquiry, get certified as a mindfulness somatic wellness coach, be certified under the International Coaching Federation. My goodness, be certified as a dual life coach, intuitive life coach throughout MANA. There was so many things. And I really didn't sit down and take each sticky note off and celebrate. And each of those things got accomplished last year.
Oh, that's amazing.
And so thank you. And so this year I was looking at it, and I'm amazed at how much has already happened, and also what we put out to the universe. I just really have to share, like, the universe is listening. The universe wants to co-create with you. The universe, we have these gifts, whatever they may be, and the universe really wants us to show up in a way that we're using those gifts in the most, I don't know, I've really shifted this year. What I'm really celebrating is I've really shifted from fear and push and schedule more and do more into be quiet and listen. And this might resonate for some people, and some people might think, oh my word. But there's a mountain that I go to, and this mountain has been teaching me to surrender. Like, it actually, and my kids will say, oh my God, don't tell the mountain story. It teaches me to surrender this mountain, and it has taught me amazing things, and it's shown me like the waterfall that is so incredibly high and far away, and how that is the water that's at my feet as I'm standing at the river. And it shows me that the rocks in front of me are also the rocks of this mountain. And it shows me what to release and what to listen to. And I go to this river a lot, and it is a huge river. And amazing messages come. Like, I saw a kingfisher there, and I've never seen a kingfisher there in my life. And I'm at this river often. And then I saw a duck, and I had this big experience with this eagle that just walked on the beach in front of me. And I just followed his, and he just crossed my path, and there was his feathers, and this mountain really kept talking about surrender, and I didn't even really know what surrender meant. Like, I really didn't.
Mhm.
It was like, I'm not giving up anything for any. Are you joking me? Like, what does that even mean, surrender? How's it done if I surrender? What does this even look like? And so I would say the last couple of years, as I've been really understanding what it means to reclaim my feminine, tied into that is also this surrender. So that being said, I really put out to the universe, I really want to be booked. Like, I want to be booked. I want to be, booked. And I want to be booked with spaciousness, I think was really what I was clear about. And so I'm so excited to share that I'm keynoting this year, and I am doing conferences. And I've spoke at conferences before, but I have never been a keynote. And I have workshops at conferences, and I am traveling to share trauma-aware communication. And this conference that I'm at is all about self-awareness. And for me, who I've attended a ton of conferences and I won't say who it's for, but it's for people who are shaping the future. And the whole conference is built around self-awareness and understanding self. And I think that's a glorious place as to where we're shifting into. So I'm so excited. So I'm creating workshops, I'm facilitating workshops, I'm traveling to facilitate workshops, I'm keynoting. I have these 2 beautiful year-long contracts that are really walking alongside learners that are adult learners, that we're going to walk together as the subjects that they're learning. And as we walk along the journey, we're tying in what negative self-talks might come up, the gifts of self-awareness, what stumbling blocks get in our way, what does it look like to be, what does time management mean to you, and what does that look like? And really, as I see it, is holding and scaffolding and supporting so that people are set up for success in all aspects. And I'm speaking to people from business to organization to not-for-profit and on, and just that our world is shifting into, let's get curious about mindfulness and self-compassion, just is so exciting to me.
Oh, who else has goosebumps? That's amazing. Congratulations. That's wonderful. Wonderful. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it sounds very exciting. You know, when you were talking and you talked about going and walking near the mountain and surrendering and the river and the water, I thought one of the things we moved out to Lindsay, sort of to a small little town called Janetville, which is between Lindsay and Port Perry. But one of the things I love about being out here is the drive when I have to go to different places, particularly because I drive by and I see the water, and I see all along the way in Kawartha Lakes, they built these like big telephone poles where they put a landing base on it so that falcons and eagles and other large birds of prey can build their nests. And they're about every, maybe 10, 15 kilometers from each other. I guess they need a lot of space. But we were talking about sort of moving a little bit closer back to the city, but I said to my husband, the thing I love is the peacefulness of the drive when I'm going into the city or when I'm coming home, and seeing the cows and the wildlife and the water and all those things have this amazing calming effect and help you be reflective and just at one with nature and kind of gain peace. And I said, I don't want to give that up. Like, I never would have thought, never in a million years did I think I would ever want to be living rural, but we thought, what the heck, let's give it a try. And now it's like, oh my God, when I go back to where we were living in the hustle and bustle in Richmond Hill and everything, it's like, no, don't want that anymore. It's shifted. And I don't think I'm alone. I think, that's why we're seeing so many people moving out to the suburbs and doing like Kate said, is because I think people have, as technology is taking over more and more, we're also craving more and more the peace and solitude of reflection and of nature and of going back and trying to find that which we have lost. And Kate really drove that home.
Kate, I'm so excited. I'm listening to you, and there is this sense of joy that came over me. I may be able to explain it at some other time. But kudos. I think it's exciting. For me, the last 12 months, I was forced to relax. I always have a list of things to do because I enjoy being a human doing, and I was forced to be a human being because the doing was impacting me, but I was just giving and giving and giving and giving. And so for this year, I didn't create my things to do. I decided that I'm just gonna follow. So when Kate explained about her surrender, I'm like, is that the word for me? But for me, it was follow. I enjoy bodies of water. So when Kate shared her story with the eagle, I had a different experience, and it was scary with the footprints in the sand, right where I was sitting, and there was no one there. I was sitting there for an hour and a half, and these fresh footprints and in the sand. And I'm like, but I didn't see anyone here. So I understand that my decision to just leave the list of things to do and just be at peace and follow whatever comes, that's what I'm going to do. So with that, I was accepted into this fellowship with University of Pretoria to obtain a certificate in gender equality. Because one of my passion is raising awareness against gender-based violence. And this course has allowed me to understand more about gender, and how a lot of the information and the knowledge that is important for us, even as women and as employees and employers, that we lack. So only today I did an assignment, and I'm thinking of, because I have to complete a capstone project. And my capstone project, I love to train. I love, well, not teaching, but I love to facilitate training and workshops. So my capstone project is about gender sensitivity, where I'll offer it to organizations, because when I learned about deep structure and what it is and how it affects organizations, and having so much experience in the nonprofit that is dominated by women because of gender stereotypes. Women are caring, women are nurturing, and those jobs are for women. So I like the idea that I can show a juxtaposition of gender sensitivity, because in the nonprofit, when you see the jobs, it's not geared to attract men. It's gender sense. It's has some bias because it's only attracting women. So that's what I'm working on. Also, since 2021, I maybe did a few intro sessions of my self-discovery program, and I'm being asked to do it, but I don't feel free to do it again. And those that I speak to can't understand that I don't feel that freedom to redo it, because I actually lost the entire program on my computer because I didn't have it saved on an external drive. So I had to recreate it, and some or the other, it doesn't feel like the original one. So until I receive that release to get that done, I'm just gonna leave it alone. And my biggest project, I am thinking of doing a nomadic trip.
Exciting.
It's scary.
I just, if could I just offer something, Sharmin? If that possible, to just get curious about if there's anything under the fear.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. There is so much to be fearful of. Venturing out, I was not socialized to make those steps like that, or decision to live like that. That's kind of taboo in my culture. So breaking out of the cultural norms and societal expectation and the ageism and all of that has caused some, or I should say a lot of trepidations, but I don't want it to hinder what I feel I want to do.
And if I could offer something else, is it just possible to see how the fear is doing what it can do to keep you safe, the only way it knows how, even though it sounds like that no longer serves you?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, as you were talking, one of the things that kind of came to my mind was, isn't it interesting how as we go through our life, we go through different phases, and the way we approach things changes as we grow and experience and reflect, and even in doing so from year to year. As Kate was talking, she has the list and the post-it notes of the things that she wants to accomplish, and then celebrating as each one gets done. And then how completely opposite was to what you needed this year was to just let it go and be at peace and not have that whole list of things because you had always had it. And it was really making me sort of stop and reflect, because I lay out this huge thing of everything that I want to do, and I have a hard time not having a schedule, having everything scheduled, like setting aside time to just be, as Kate said. And I've been working on it, but I think part of it, and it goes to something else that Sharmin was saying too, is in a lot of ways it's all of the head sh, and that's in our mind from other people that we've encountered during our life, and often, obviously, the ones we encounter most often when we're young, our parents, our siblings, our teachers, our friends, and how their thoughts and feelings imprint on us and sometimes help push us forward, but also sometimes pull us back, because as you say, they're doing the best they can with the information they have, but it doesn't necessarily serve you well here and now. And a while back we talked about divorce, and one of the things that I think held me back from getting a divorce, I probably was ready to get a divorce 2 years into my marriage, and I lasted 20 years in that marriage because I thought you get married, you stayed married no matter what, you had to, it was a commitment. But what I heard in my head all the time was my mother's voice when she referred to two neighbors down the street says, the divorcees. And I didn't want to be a divorcee. And all I could hear was that in my head. And it didn't reflect anything that was going on in my world, but somehow it was what, had this power to hold me back from what I needed to do because of that. And I think that happens in so many aspects of our life, like Kate was saying, like that fear holds on, and is it serving you, and how do we break through it and take that next step?
Can we just let the fear just come with us? It just not let it drive the car. It can take a back seat and it can stay there. It's going to be there anyway. No matter what we do, there's going to be some kind of fear. And yeah, I think it's our ego keeping us safe, not letting us move on and grow. But if we can know, okay, I know this next step, it's going to scare the shit out of me. So I'm going to put my seatbelt on, and fear, you can buckle up next, but I'm still driving this car and do what's scared anyway, or whatever, there's all those, buzz lines, but it's true. Like you're not, unless you're going to crawl in a hole and not do what you should be doing and living your life and sharing your gifts, and all of that's going to bump up against some kind of fear. And if you anticipate it and know it's coming, then maybe it's easier to think, maybe not easier, maybe it's just more manageable to think, okay, just sit right there. Just sit right there, because we're doing it anyway, but just sit right there and see what I can do.
Yeah, exactly that. Feel the fear and do it anyways. Right.
And I'm bursting to just give a reframe. If we could just love on the fear, if we could just love on it. Fear has served us. Fear has kept us safe. Humans would not be alive if they did not have fear. If an alert didn't go off when we walked down a dark alley, right? If we didn't have these, I'm so grateful for fear. And if I can love on fear with compassion and create a relationship with it and give space, I think of how many times I'd be afraid and I would shut it down. I would toxic positivity, or I don't want to hear that right now, or right, like fear was bubbling, and then I would go into overdrive or distraction or overwhelm. And now when I have fear, I love you, fear. I'm so grateful for you. Tell me what you need to say, and it will say whatever it needs to say. And I got you, fear. I got us. I've got us. It's okay that this is scary. And, I've said to my kids their whole life, I will always push you to your limits, and I will never, ever set you up for failure, ever. And to say that to ourselves when we're feeling that fear, right? Where there's growth is where there's fear, and I've got us, and I'm never going to set us up for failure.
Is anyone else wondering why Kate's doing keynotes? If that's a taste of it, that's yeah, I love that. Because it just makes it, I don't know, realistic. Like, yeah, I love that. You're right. We do need fear.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and when she said that, it's very true, right? If we didn't have fear, like God help us, because that is what saves us from, as you said, walking down a dark alley or what have you, and figuring out how to judge what is, um, true fear, like life threatening, versus fear that is just something that is, an uncomfortableness, or because you haven't done it before, or because you have to build a new skill set or something like that. And it made me think about, I think I told you guys when I went to Alaska, I did the world's tallest and fastest zip line. And the thing for me about that particular thing was, I was very afraid and thinking, shouldn't I, whatever, at the beginning. But then once I made the actual decision, I released the fear. Like the fear was there because obviously it would be scary, so something could go wrong. But once I made the decision, I released the fear. And when I was actually doing it, I wasn't afraid. And I was kind of surprised that I wasn't feeling the fear. And it really made me sort of stop and think too about other things that you do in your life and accomplish, and trying to figure out how to bottle that same experience and repeat it when I'm dealing with other types of tasks or something that are creating fear. And I think that that's part of why people do things like, extreme mountain climbing or skydiving or bungee jumping or any of these things, is because part of what it is, obviously, is for some people, it's the thrill and excitement of doing it. But part of it is that feeling, if I can bust through this fear and do something like this that's really out there, that I'm really afraid of, if I can break through it and do it for that thing, then it will give me the internal power to utilize and do it with every other things in my life. And I think that, trying to figure out how to harness that is a key.
Thank you all for everything that you said about fear, but something that Cheryl said that triggered me, triggered me in a good way, is oftentimes putting fear in the back seat is not realistic, because it's like telling fear that yes, you are in control, but you taking the back seat. For me, what works for me, when you said that, it triggered me into that space. I have to face fear. And the facing of the fear, I created this tool called thought clouding: who, what, when, where, how. Right? So when I face my fear, where did I learn to fear this? Where did I learn this fear? And how did I accept that teaching? So when I go through my who, what, when, how, where, I sit in the fear, and then I know that, okay, it's something I observed or I was taught from an authority figure in either primary or secondary socialization, and I go to the roots, because that's the only way I can fix it. So and for me, I think somebody mentioned it earlier, most of our fears, our inhibitions, everything lies right in primary and secondary socialization, right? We might have grown up to be adults chronologically, but biologically, we're still transfixed. I usually say frozen, because of the physiological reaction to fear and trauma: fight, flight, freeze. Most times we are frozen, and we're left in those stages. So I face my fear and ask myself the questions, and sometimes it's painful. So I don't want to put fear in the back seat. I want fear to sit right up in the front seat with me, because if I have to fight, flight, fight, or, well, I don't want to be frozen anymore, because it's not hard to be, it's not easy to be taught out, if I can use that term. And then the psychology field has added a few more. But I want fear to sit with me. And when you said that, I was like, fear in the back seat. No, I like to face fear, because that day, that story that I shared on the beach, when I walk in these footsteps where it came out the water, and then it went right back into the water. And when I reach at the end, it's like this voice said, walk in, follow the footprints. You wouldn't, nothing will happen to you. And I couldn't follow that. That was like, all these suicide alarms went off. And it may not have been that, but you're walking on the water. I can't swim, right? So I didn't follow that voice, but I must say, fear. I became very fearful when I put my foot in the last footprint, and I heard that voice. I was like, oh no. And I've never been, no, and I love bodies of water. But I've never went back there because of fear.
Thank you so much for that. And I love your reflection, and that's definitely the work that I do with the people that I work with, right? To go all the way back, and it is from all the way back. And I really, what I would offer to our listeners as well is, when things arise for you, one question you can even ask yourself is, how old do I feel in this situation? And for me, when someone would be confrontational towards me, I would feel they were growing. I would feel I was shrinking. It would be hard to get my voice out. And that really got me curious that, okay, you obviously feel very young in this moment. So what is really going on here, and how familiar is this? Number one, very familiar. So I know it's not about the situation in front of me. And also, how old do you feel? Well, I feel very small. And where do you feel it in your body? And I'm so excited I got accepted into somatic experiencing training for 2024. And when you just said that about fight, flight, or freeze, like that's the big behind somatic experiencing, is that none of those got to be completed fully. So then whatever that is trapped in our bodies.
Yeah. And the vagal nerve. So yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah, so I'm excited for you. Are you doing it with Bessel van der Kolk?
I'm doing it, actually, it's Peter Levine's program.
Okay.
But I do love Bessel's work.
Okay.
Yeah, I did through Mind Valley a couple of programs, and one of them specifically sort of had you thinking about things that are blocking you or that you're fearful of, and exactly that, kind of going back, trying to figure out what age you were when that happened, and see the event and look on it and kind of, not analyze it so much, but reflect on it and look at it from different angles and understand it, so that you can then break free from whatever it is that is holding you back, that wasn't completed, or that somebody said that wounded you or something like that, right? So again, being reflective and looking at it and giving yourself time and space to process it.
And if I may offer to the audience that some fear or some things that you want to examine shouldn't be done alone. You should always have an expert someone who is a subject matter expert in that area, a coach, a therapist, a counselor, whatever, because some roots are deep. Some experiences are deeply rooted in trauma, and addressing trauma can be very, very painful. And if you do it by yourself, you might not know how to get out of that space. So I want to encourage you to find a coach, a therapist, counselor, someone who knows how to, and who has some experience in that area.
Thank you so much, Sharmin. Exactly what I wanted to share as well. And I think it's Gabor that says, it's in relationship that we're wounded. So it's in relationship that we heal. And that can look like relationship of being held by someone who is trained and to understand what has happened with you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
It's a really good point, is that when you're going through and you're dealing with it, you release a lot of emotion, right? And it can be overwhelming, and you can find yourself crying or laughing or just shaking, right? Like your body, as it's releasing and as you're dealing with stuff, it can bring a flood of different emotions and feelings and actions. And as you say, having someone there to help and guide, and that you can connect with as you're going through it, so that you don't get stuck or overwhelmed as you're going through that process. Huge point.
I feel like this is a whole other show. I feel like this, let's just do fear. Let's love on fear for an episode and see where that goes. What do you think?
You're over.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's love on fear.
Yes.
And we need our audience to give us some ideas too. Reach out to us, send us a message, let us know some of the topics that you guys want to hear about, some of the things that are exciting you or scaring you, or that you want to learn about, or that you're stuck with, because we as a group here, we want to help transform your lives. And we're grabbing and addressing topics that affect us and that we're excited about, but we also want to make sure we're grabbing and tackling things that are important to you, our audience. So reach out to any one of us, give us some ideas, let us know what you need help with, because that's what we're here for.
Good point. We're not experts, but boy, we can share our experiences and very honest stories, and hopefully move you forward one step and still feel helped.
And I'd also love to know, what are some of your biggest takeaways from anything that we've shared, or has this helped embrace, inspire, and empower your life?
Beautiful. Well, thank you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll see you next time. Thank you for joining us on Transforming Lives podcast panel. Love you all. So grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Transforming Lives panel podcast. We hope that you received some nuggets of wisdom and seeds to plant along your journey of transformation. If you enjoyed what you heard today, we encourage you to let us know and to share us with those that matter in your life. If you would like to connect with anyone from the panel or our guest speaker, you can find all of the ways to connect in our show notes. We have so much gratitude for you, and we are so thankful to be a part of your day. Until next time, take great care.